Good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending this regular meeting of the Conservation Commission on February 16th, starting at 7:32 p.m. We will, as a commission, not be a quorum tonight, given some traveling and some illness and one resignation. So we will just proceed with an informational meeting and probably move fairly quickly through the agenda. I didn't receive any comments, and I don't see members of the public here. So we'll move on to the Racebrook track. I had gotten a request from Sharon Ewan. She is the former chair of the Orange Conservation Commission, and they are working on a project to rehabilitate the Racebrook track, some of the facilities of it, specifically the boardwalk, nature walk there. And she had asked if we, as a Conservation Commission, would lend a letter of support. So it's something I wanted to bring to the Commission. Lacking quorum, we will really we'll defer this item to next time. And revisit it, but they apparently have also rehabilitated the parking area to an extent, making some steps that were badly needed to avoid some erosion there. So it seems they're pretty active now, and would like to, I think it'd be good for us to have a relationship with the commission, since we share the Racebrook track, and could be helpful. Next up on the agenda is the Jumping Worm program update. As Kate Rosen has resigned, Kate was taking the lead for us on the Jumping Worm program. I do not recall, I think someone may have been giving her a hand, although Kate felt pretty comfortable doing it herself. I had reached out to Kate to see if, in resigning, she was cutting all her ties to the program, which was going to be in March, I believe, and did not hear back. Do you recollect, Barbara, if
It seems to me that I think Sharon offered to help, but I think, as you say, Kate thought she had it all in hand, so.
Yeah, that was my recollection, but I wanted to have someone verify for me. And
That's my memory of it.
Okay. Unless I hear back from Kate that she's going to carry forward, or I'll reach out to Sharon and see if she wants to take the reins. If not, my sense is that it will have to be canceled. And I've already gotten an inquiry from the Agriculture Commission just yesterday, but we're still on for a date. I'm not sure where they got the date from, but because I was hoping we'd have verification tonight from Kate of the date. So more likely than not, we're probably in the cancellation mode.
I think she even signed on with the person that was going to give the talk, so she may be continuing with that.
Yes, so I'll
confirm one way or another.
Try to confirm with her.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is the 10 to 14 Merritt Avenue subdivision recap and learnings. I've already been asked to make sure this is on the agenda for next session. So I believe we'll defer, but I'd like to at least make sure you're up to speed, and people listening and watching after up to speed what actually happened with the decision of the TPZ. Have you followed that closely at all?
The last I heard about it was I listened to the CUPOP meeting with the letter that they were going to send to TPC. That's as
Okay.
far as I've gotten.
And they did. There was a good amount of public comment at the meeting. In the end, CUPOP, excuse me, Planning and Zoning approved the subdivision. They approved the open space as proposed by the developer, and that was the open space along the river. There was nothing touching the other two lots, 13 and 14, if I remember correctly. And the attorney for the applicant said that he had gotten an agreement with the land trust to receive the open space.
Oh, okay. For the Merritt Avenue, okay.
Yes.
Good.
I mean, that's the bottom line on
Mhm.
everything. There's, as I say, we'll have this same topic next month. Any other question on that?
No, I don't think so,
As I-
at this point.
Okay. All right, initiatives updates. We don't have anything on tree preservation for sure, or green fund for sure. And as I say, only if needed, or we have updates of meeting. Otherwise,
I don't have anything from the Historical
Okay.
Society.
all right, then we'll go.
I mean, I think the Historical Society is kind of waiting for us, and we're kind of waiting for the Historical
Oh,
Society, so
Well,
you
then
know,
that's
I had
important
said
to talk about.
after the first of the year, and I mean, we're over our heads now, but I think certainly as soon as the commission
Well-
is ready to go forward with it, I think we need to just go ahead
Well,
and push it.
maybe a misunderstanding on my part. I had thought taking it up after the new year was talking to the Historical Society and making sure that they were willing participants in doing this, or wanted to.
Oh, I don't think that's a question.
Okay.
It's actually doing it.
Doing it.
That's,
All right, so
that's,
do we need to better define what's to be done?
yeah, I think maybe
Or what the interest is? Have we been communicated enough?
I think that's probably fine, and perhaps even a memo just outlining what the commission would like to see the Historical Society,
Okay.
how they would like to see them participate. Hey, Bill.
Good evening, Mel.
Good evening, everybody.
What the commission is looking for from the Historical Society.
Okay.
And
I'll draft it up,
there
something my
is,
thoughts.
we
and-
will be having a meeting next week, the Historical Society, if that's
Mm.
not too soon. If it is too soon, that's fine.
It may be too soon,
That's fine.
given
As I say,
my duties coming up this.
we're
weekend.
up to our ears anyway, so.
Okay, all right, then, all
Don't
right.
worry
And
about
then, and I'll try to draft that, and maybe you can edit for me.
Okay.
Suggestions, I'll send it to you. Okay,
You have
so
a
Val, we
agenda?
are underway.
Oh, this- oh.
We do
We
not
are
have
it.
quorum this evening.
All right.
So we're going through the agenda fairly quickly. I'm sharing information that I hope will be useful to yourself and Barbara, and for people who might tune in afterwards onto YouTube. Three of the members could not make it tonight for various reasons. And did you see the memo from Kate Rosen?
Yes, I can see that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's unfortunate, but I
Okay,
understand,
yes.
yeah.
so so we're not at quorum, but I wanted to share some information and, some of the items will just be deferred to next month, like the discussion on 10 to 14 Merritt Avenue.
Oh,
So-
okay,
So that will come up again.
okay.
Okay. All right, so we will move on to the item of interest. The first one there is 124 Seymour Road. And that I do have an update for. The owners of the property that was up for the foreclosure sale went into Chapter 13 bankruptcy. That is an automatic forestalling of the sale, the auction. And beyond that, that's the only update I have. I don't have anything beyond that. So
Interesting.
I'm not familiar with what happens after that. That's its own process, gets deferred to bankruptcy court, and there were still, as far as I could tell, some papers to be filed. At the time I looked at it, all the papers hadn't been filed. The plan to get out of bankruptcy, for instance, there's one I recollect that wasn't yet there. So I don't exactly know can't even forecast what will happen.
I think it will forestall the sale of the property.
Right, so, yeah, it stops the
Yeah.
sale.
For as long as the
Foreclosure.
bankruptcy
that's
procedures
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, which is,
It's used, tactic used a lot.
Is it, okay, all right. As far as I can tell, it doesn't change anything for being able to, maintain the property as open space up in the back. I don't see it opening up any other avenue for us that I know of.
well, it
But-
buys some time
Yeah.
to maybe find another avenue,
Yeah, yes.
I think.
And let me, I've got to send a note off to one person to ask about that and inform them that this happened and ask about that. Okay. Anything else on 124 Seymour? Okay. And then the next item you see there is a town trails group. So this is an item I had actually had on the agenda, sooner than this item, as just a regular agenda item, and then I had some feedback that the group would have interest in what the town's trails group was doing, especially when it affects I guess the conservatorship or the stewardship of the open space. That was the feedback, and so, I moved it from the top down to under this item, so I remember, as a reminder to myself, to talk about it occasionally, to bring you some information. But tonight I had 3 or 4 aspects I wanted to tell you about. One is the thought to perhaps have Andy Danzig to the next meeting and let him.
To what, I'm sorry?
Excuse me, I should have said the trail master is Andy Danzig.
Oh,
And I thought it might be worthwhile to have him come in and visit. And someone had mentioned that at one of our meetings, but it wasn't acted upon then. But I do think give you a chance to meet him, and he has interest. We have interest in make sure the open space is good and healthy. And so I will ask him to come to the next meeting. And I'll say that with a little bit of caveat. Now that we're going to defer so many items, we'll look at what the timing would be. But but one of the next two meetings anyway. We've, the trail group has put together, I mentioned before, a second Sunday volunteer group to do trail cleanup. And it's going a little bit beyond trails. I'll mention in a minute, but the first formal effort for that started actually on the Bracebrook track. We were up in the Woodbridge side of the Bracebrook track and did some work there. Before that, many of the same people involved had gotten involved with the access path off of Oak Hill. We've worked over on the access to the Fitzgerald property on Rimmon Road, which was hard to spot. Now it's a little bit of an open in the woods, you might see it. There's actually the drainage that ran along Rimmon Road down the hill to where the entrance is was blocked and it was overflowing. So that we had the state come in and they did a nice job building up and putting up some riffraff along the side to try to keep it from clogging again. So they did a nice job there. And then I guess in January we were up north of Route 63 when we did the walk over the where the pipeline is, Round Hill, where it continues on 63 on the other side. We went into that section and cleaned it up, and we must have chainsawed a dozen trees. I think there was that many that were falling across the path, and some other work. So that was good. And just this past weekend, we were up on Cassway Road.
On where road?
Cassway.
Oh, yes.
Beyond 67, up 63, beyond 67 on the right-hand side. And that again is it goes, it's an old town road, and it connects to Sperry Road and Sperry Park. So for the neighborhood there, it's a nice walk to get to Sperry Park. So those are some of the things properties we've touched. Well, I won't say all on the Greenway, but properties we're certainly interested in.
Tim,
Yep.
when do you identify what trail you're going to? Well, I've seen your emails, but I'm not sure where you're going.
Well,
Exactly.
we collect places we know need work in a list. As reports come in, or so now, one item we propose, for instance, is relocating the small, there's a trail that crosses Pease Road, comes out of a piece of property at 110 Pease Road that is town-owned, but with a land trust conservation easement on it. And then there's a third of a mile road walk down to Eversource property. And there's been a suggestion to move where the trail comes out on Pease Road, to shorten the third of a mile road walk to a much shorter length, the length of a house. So that's a project, so that gets added to the list, because eventually that work's going to need to be done. And so things go on the list, either repair or maintenance. The trail master, after we finish 1 month, he'll look at what's on the list and decide what's going to happen the next month.
Oh,
So it's really not planned way far ahead, but it's planned, in the month ahead. And then usually a week and a half or so before the event, the emails are sent out.
okay. And the and you identify in the email the trail you're going to? 'Cause I-
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I don't think I.
yeah. The trails identified, there's usually with a little map showing the location.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Is something get in the way of your email? The
Who-
map?
Who gets these emails?
I wasn't looking at a map. I
Okay.
didn't see a map, that's because I didn't know where, I didn't see a map attached.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is. We should look at your emails if that's been a problem.
Okay.
The, Betsy Yagla, when she was here, had advertised, did a survey about the usage of town trails, and she had asked if people were willing to volunteer. And from that, she collected a list. So that's one source of the list. There are other people that are sort of in our hip pocket who we know would volunteer, and so they got asked and are on the list. And then at events, we have a sign-up sheet. If somebody's there that didn't get the email, they can sign up to receive future emails. So it's a building list of people who have shown interest, said they were interested. When we were up at Oak Hill, there were a number of people who were contacted because they had written to talk about the problem there. And so then they were written back and said, if you'd like to come and help, here's the day we're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of neighbors did. They came and they were very good. So we'll build that list over time. So I was gonna add about Castaway Road. It was really nice. We had the weather always plays a factor, but we had nice weather for February, and we had a showing of I'm gonna say 8 to 10 Girl Scouts. No, excuse me, Scouts. It was it was mostly girls. There were some boys there too. It's a combined troop,
Mm-hmm.
from what I understand. And they were very enthusiastic and fun, and I think they had a good time, and they said they're coming back.
Good.
I talked, and their parents came to supervise, and so it's a really nice thing. Hope, for them it's service.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope it continues. So, it's hopefully educational for them. Over time, we'll probably do a little education on invasive species. So hopefully it'll be mutual benefit. What else did I have?
I'm not sure, this is probably not the place to bring this up, but it's to do with trails and town
Yep.
trails, so I will.
Yep.
After the Diversity Day, when Val manned the table for us
Mm-hmm.
and had all the maps that are out here, I ended up with the leftovers, and I took it upon myself to put them in the library.
Okay.
In the entrance as you come in the main lobby, and we actually even bought a second holder, so all 12 of them are out there.
Great.
They go like hotcakes. Hotcakes.
Is it really?
So the question that I have is, who really buys them? Is it the commission that buys them? And how can we increase our orders? Because they really, people just
Well-
love them.
The Conservation Commission paid for the last printing of
Which
the
was
maps.
how many and when?
Now you're asking me hard
And
questions.
how much?
The how much I'm not going to be able to tell you. It wasn't thousands. It was it was
No, it shouldn't
it
be.
was a few $100s is my recollection, but
Okay.
don't trust me on it. I think there were 500 of each. I suggest that you go and talk to Tony Valinsky.
I know she has actually, at first, she was not happy that I was doing this. Now she's happy I'm doing this, said, come get them anytime you want.
Oh, really? Okay.
And again, at first, she thought they were very expensive, but I know in terms that you're speaking of, it, you know, it would be pennies to do 1,000 of each, pennies more, should I say.
Yeah.
Do 1,000 of each.
Yeah, I think
instead.
that setting up the job is probably
Yeah,
the big thing.
exactly.
And if they're going that fast, and we can show, you know, we did them here, and now 500 are almost gone, then, you know, let's do a bigger run,
Yeah,
and, you know,
yeah,
so,
okay.
yeah.
So
I mean,
I'll talk with
I,
her
I,
about-
you know, I would, we have money in the budget for, you know, that would, is appropriate to use
Mhm.
for that type of effort. I'd kind of leave it to Tony, and you're involved a little bit, but about how fast they're going and when it needs to be refreshed.
Okay,
I had been contacted by Betsy Yagla at the time, and it was, you know, it
All right, I'll
seems
talk
it's
to
an
Tony about
appropriate
that,
use of
because-
that money.
okay, good.
And actually, that's a good segue into we have money in the budget for trail signage and safety signage. About $900, I believe. And given that the town trails group has gone through here, they're probably ready to put up some signage. You know, this is the trail, little, you know, what are they, 12 by 18 type of
Mhm.
plates with a sign, you know, an arrow that tells you where to walk to get to the trailhead. So the question is, you know, what's the mechanism we want to use? You know, the money's approved for that use. Do you want, you know, so I'm looking for a suggestion of how that should be communicated to the commission. You know, each and every sign, just a memo saying these are the places where we're going to deploy signs this month, next month. Does it need to be an ask and a release for each one, or is it we've got a certain amount of money, and as long as they don't go past the money, we're okay? So I'm just, you know, we never really discussed that
Mhm.
in detail, so I'm just looking for some guidance as.
Well, my opinion is that the full signage need, as far as numbers and where, I don't think we certainly need the content, because I certainly think that they have the wherewithal to do that, but, you know, we are, in toto, we're going to need, you know, 75 signs, and they're gonna be here, 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 and here. And then we could approve it and, all right, you know, do 15 a year, or, you know,
Yeah,
that kind of a thing.
right. Yeah, I mean, this year we have up to whatever dollar I just said, number
Yeah,
of signs.
yeah.
You know, I think the place, there's a learning process here. How do you go all out and procure them? It has to go through the town, and
Well,
then
that's,
and then, you know, is this company a good company to get the signs from? So I think there's going to be a first iteration, kind
and
of
how
a
does
test.
that overlap with the trust, with the land trust? I mean, they
Well,
put up signs
the-
too.
Right, and the town trails group would not put up any signs on land trust property. They would, you know, land trust takes care of their own properties.
Right. But they also have easements on
Yeah, yeah,
town-owned
so
properties. So,
that was my
you
next
know.
breath. I was taking a breath, and the next piece is, so you have town, so that's one thing, and then you have land trust owned property. And then town-owned land with land trust conservation easement. And there, we strive for a collaboration. to share and get consensus with the land trust that it's something that's worthwhile. I mean, they have a style of sign they've put up. And so, I think they'll probably want to stay with that. The signs, I mean, Pease Road might be a good example. Right now, it has one of the land trust type signs. It's town land, but land trust type sign. I don't know how that arrangement was made, but that's just the way it is now. You know, we would not necessarily propose putting up any signage there, unless the land trust, looking at what we're doing, says, hey, wouldn't hurt to have a pointing sign to the trail. On the other hand, Pease Road is very busy. It's one of the places you can see perhaps having some safety signage on the road. And I think that would be, I'd probably tell the land trust about that, but I think that's probably something that'd be on the road, town road, as people are crossing the road here, so stay awake.
Would Andy, was it
Danzig.
have provide some direction with this?
Yeah, I mean, Andy is, I look to Andy, well, as you know, I'm on the town trails group, so I'm kind of the two hats, but try to leave the decisions to Andy, final decisions to Andy as the trail master. I think that's only proper, so, but yeah. So, we're not going to reach a decision on this time, but
Sure.
it's food for thought for next time, because I guess it's still a valid, I want people to be comfortable, because it's the logical place for the monies to be right now. There is no other place. Although, I'm going to talk about the next item. And let me say the second to next item, because I just want to, while I have it in my hand, there's a public hearing on of the Inland Wetlands Agency, talking about the proposal from the I guess it's the town, for the volunteer, the fire station. They want to construct an expanded foundation for the storage foundation. So it impacts wetlands, and so there's a public hearing. So I just wanted, we had gotten
What's that
notice of
date?
it as a conservation commission, so we wanted to make sure you were all aware that that was
What's
going
the
on.
date?
The date is March the 8th. The applicant's name is the town of Fort Bridge, so.
The applicant is the town.
Yeah. Yep, and going as any other landowner would before the inland wetlands when they're impacting wetlands. So, okay. I had sent out with the materials, just to you, just the, I was just going to talk to something that happened during budget time. I was just referring to the signage being in our budget. One of the problems that occurred when Oak Hill Lane access, which caused the people around that neighborhood of the Oak Hill Lane access to contact the first selectman. There was a neighborhood trail put in, informal trail, and it transversed some private property. So the work needed to be done to center that onto the town-owned right-of-way. It was supposed to be a roadway into Fitzgerald if they ever finished it. One of the work basically was held up because there was an ash tree right smack in the middle of where the trail needed to go, right smack in the middle of this right of way that could have fallen either way, and it was dead and
It was
dropped.
a what was it?
An ash tree.
Oh, an ash tree, okay.
Yeah, an ash tree that had gotten the emerald
Ash borer.
ash borer, and it was dead, and it was very large. And it took a long time to get funds to cut the tree down because it didn't fall on anybody's budget. So because of that, and it held up getting a solution. It was during the time of COVID, and people wanted to walk, and we couldn't really open the trail because of that. I went and had a discussion with Tony Genovese and asked that we find a solution. And I sent out sort of an outline of what that solution is so you can have the background for it. It is money that's going to sit in Adam Parsons' budget for the town. And the process is you'll read there, runs through the trail master to designate when volunteers can't handle a tree and they need to get in a professional. And the trail master and Adam will take care of that. So there's some question about that, so I wanted to share that with you. Make sense? Yeah, so we're out of that one. And I think that's my, one more thing. No, I take it back. I think I covered it all. Division, they approved the proposal of open space, basically as proposed by the applicant as it runs along the river. And the open space grant will go to the Woodbridge Land Trust.
And the open space, what did you say?
The open space along the river and the banks will be granted to the Woodbridge Land Trust.
So it's not a case of the trust having an easement on town property? Okay.
The land trust will own that.
Okay.
The language in there that seems to have crystallized in understanding generally is that the applicant is supposed to propose, and the applicant also seeks to identify who will take the open space. And the subdivision regulations, which I may have in here, but I won't bother trying to drag out right now, I think list 5 different scenarios for that to happen. Could be the town, could be the land trust, could be another organization, and there's a couple others, variations. So they're I think it's on them to decide, which way they prefer that to go, and have a discussion and be able to bring back to the TBZ. I'm sure this is not the word that's used, proof that they have a willing acceptor of the property. So that's how that came out.
I see.
Do you know? Well, I'll look it up, doesn't matter. Okay. Interesting.
Question withdrawn?
Hmm?
Question withdrawn?
Yes, I'll do the work myself.
I may know, so check with me after. Okay.
I should
Any
know,
other?
I should know, that's why I
Oh.
said I would look it up myself.
I was just wondering if there had been any discussion as did it matter at all that this was rental property versus individual lots for sale? That didn't matter at all, it's just that
No.
that's something that they had.
I do not think that is relevant to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Don't think, okay.
That's my personal opinion. I never, in all, and I wasn't there for every meeting, perhaps for every minute, but, you know, I did watch a fair amount of them, never heard that come up at all.
Right, yeah, no,
Yeah,
that was something that,
they deal with, in subdividing this land, does it adhere to the regulations? And not have, impacts that are stipulated in the regulations. Whether the person decides to own them or rent them, or, I don't think it's part. Now, I will stand corrected on that because I don't know the regulations in and out, but. Yeah. Any other just general discussion items or thoughts or suggestions, comments for next time?
So we're obviously 9, but 7 and 8 will be
Yeah, well,
pushed to next time, of course.
right, so, I did send out the criteria,
Mhm.
excuse me, I didn't send out criteria. The criteria, it's a discussion I wanted to have, just to have us be thoughtful beforehand, before we consider the next set of properties. What I did send out was the list of properties that we might consider. And so in going through those, I think, having some thought about discussion with everybody, how to think about them, what would make a good property is probably worthwhile. Maybe something we should have done before we looked at the legacy ones, but we didn't. But the thought came to me afterwards. I
So
thought,
this includes legacy and,
it very well could include some of the legacy properties.
okay. It does. I can see it does,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Especially the water company properties at the end.
Mhm.
And, those properties are probably duplicated. Okay. So yes, I think we defer on number 7. We defer on number 8. And Barbara, you were gonna do a little research on one property that was on the legacy list. We can talk about that after the meeting,
Yeah,
if you'd like,
maybe we best.
because I have it here. It's on the Ford Road, Osborne Road properties. I have a page number. I'll show it to you when we finish the meeting. So the work session will be deferred. We cannot approve the minutes for the lack of a quorum. And with that, we reach the end of the agenda. Any other comments or thoughts?
No,
No?
nothing.
Then I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And so we will be adjourned at 8:17 PM. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.